All right, good afternoon. This is Miss Webb, and I'm going to do a review for exam 2 tonight. I hope that you all be able to watch this. I've added a couple of extra problems in here that was not on your example review sheet, so I hope this helps you and gives you some more examples, okay? So first, on the first part of the test, there's going to be 3 questions just like this. You need to state the accuracy and precision of the following measurements. And so what we're looking at here, this one has 960. Well, notice this 0 is to the right of a whole number. And when it's to the right of a whole number and not a decimal, it is not, it's not sufficient, or you don't need it, okay? So the way you look at this, when it says state the accuracy and precision, the precision then, if you're going to ignore that 0, is to the 6, and that would be the tenths. So this is precise to the nearest 10 foot, nearest 10 feet, okay? And then our accuracy, because again, we're ignoring the 0, our accuracy is 2 digits, okay? So you'll need to answer both of those for the test to get that correct. Now notice here, 8,775 gallons, 8,775 gallons. So precise to the 1 gallon, because this 5 is important, okay? So 1 gallon. And then it's accurate to 4 significant digits, okay? 4 significant digits. Now notice this one. This one has 0.04, okay? So we're going to look at this here for what it's precise to, and that's a 4, and that's hundredths. Okay, so it's going to be hundredths. And then it's accurate now. It's only accurate to the 1 digit. Because remember, it's not significant if the zeros are to the right of a whole decimal. Okay, so that's what we do there on those. And again, you'll have 3 of those, okay? Now, on the conversions, you're going to have about 6 of these, I believe. I will give you a conversion sheet on the test. So the conversion sheet, you'll have that to help you with this section, okay? So don't worry about worrying any conversions or anything. You'll have that information. So all you have to do is practice the actual conversions, okay? So let's look at that real quick. So we got 54 miles per hour in feet per second. So there is 5,000, and again, I'll give you this information, 5,280 feet in 1 mile. Okay, and that's what we're going to use there. And then there are 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. And so we're going to have to do that, okay, because it's miles per hour to feet per second. So you're going to have a double conversion here, okay? So for number 4, you're going to have 54 miles, and we'll put hour on the bottom just so we can see it. And then it's going to be 5,280 feet per 1 mile, okay? Now that's going to take care of the miles and, well, right now just the miles, okay? And then you have 1 hour over 3,600 seconds. Okay, and that's going to get rid of the hour here and there, this hour and that hour. So when we cancel, we're going to cancel this mile with that one, this hour with that one, and what we have left is feet per second. Okay, so you're going to say 54 times 5,280 divided by 3,600, and when you do that conversion, you get 79.2, and then it's going to be feet per second because that's what you have left. You have feet per second. Okay. So that's how you do that one. Number 5 is going to be 2.6 liters equals to how many quarts? So we have, there's 1 quart equals 0.946 liters. Okay. So to do that, it's going to be 2.6 liters, and just put a 1 under that, divided by 1 or times 1 quart. divided by 0.946 liters. So liters are going to cancel, and we end up with quarts, and that's going to be 2.79 quarts. Okay. Number 6, we got Fahrenheit to Celsius, and again, you'll need to know these conversions, okay? And I'll have that for you. But the way we do that, that's going to be, there is a formula for it, and it's 5 times 41, which is Fahrenheit, minus 32 divided by 9. Okay, so you just plug in what you're needing there in Fahrenheit. And that's going to equal 5 degrees Celsius. Okay, and that's all you do. And again, you're going to have these conversions, but be careful on the two-step conversions like number 4, okay? Pay close attention and remember that you have to cancel, so put them in the right order. Okay? All right, here's a few more conversions, and again, I'll give you this. It says to look at your book, but I'm going to actually give that to you, okay? Okay, so 350 cubic inches. So what do we have here? We have 16.387 centimeters cubed equals 1 cubic inch. Okay. So for it's number 4 on here, but actually it's number 7 on the actual sheets. Okay. But that's going to be 350 inches cubed, 1 times 16.387 centimeters cubed divided by 1 cubic inch. And that's another way to show it. So both of these are the same. This is 1 cubic inch, that's 1 cubic inch. So these cancel, and you get 5,735.45 cubic centimeters. Because that's what we have left here. Okay? So we do that one. Number 5 on here is 6.9 liters into a gallon. So for 1 gallon, we have 3.785 liters. Okay, so we set that up, 6.9 liters over 1 times 1 gallon divided by 3.785 liters. Liters cancel. You end up with gallons, and that's going to be 1.82 gallons. Okay. Number 6. Number 6 is 28 pounds into kilograms. Okay. So that's going to be 4,536. Let's see. Uh-oh. Let me fix that. Four thousand 536 kilograms divided by equals 1 pound. Okay, so that's going to be 28 pounds times 4,536 kilograms divided by 1 pound. Pounds are going to cancel, and we're going to end up with 12.7 kilograms. Okay, and then the last one, number 7 on here, it's number 10 on your worksheet, is 525 milliliters. Okay, that's what we're looking for. And we know that 1 fluid ounce, because we're looking for fluid ounces, equals 29.574 milliliters. Okay, so that's going to be divided by 1 times 1 fluid ounce divided by 29.574 milliliters. Milliliters are going to cancel, and you're going to end up with 17.75 fluid ounces. Okay, so that's how you're going to do the conversions. And again, you'll get the conversion sheet, so don't worry about that. Just practice these problems, though, so you'll know how to do it, okay? All right. Now, the next type, it says circle all perfect squares. Well, the way we do this, it's what times what. So 2 times 2 is 4, so that's a perfect square. Anything that's times itself is a perfect square. So 3 times 3, 144 times 144. And also 169. All these are perfect squares, okay? Pretty easy. Now the next type says rewrite each group of numbers in order from smallest to largest. Now, from smallest to largest. So remember, as it's getting closer to 0, it gets larger, even if it's a negative number. So as it gets closer, it starts getting larger. And then, of course, over 0, anything over 0 is larger. So for number 4, we look at each one of these. So we have a negative 0.6, a 0, a 0.4, a negative 0.55, a negative 0.135, and a 0.096. So again, as we get closer to 0, that number's larger, okay? So the first one, the smallest number, is going to be minus 0.6. The next smallest is 0.55, negative 0.55. The next one is negative 0.38. Then it's negative 0.096. See, we're getting closer to 0, so they're getting larger. Then 0, and then 0.4. So that's from smallest to largest. And again, with the fractions, the same thing. So our smallest fraction here is negative 5/8. Our next to the smallest is negative 1/2. And again, we're working our way to 0. Our next one is 1/2. And our last one is 3/4. So they get larger. Okay? So make sure you understand that and you practice those, okay? Now the next type are just add and subtract as indicated. Now remember, if you're adding 2 negative numbers, you're going to end up with a negative number. If you multiply 2 negative numbers, you end up with a positive number. So let's look at these. So negative 5 plus negative 21. And again, this is going to be like this. Negative 5 minus 21. Well, when you add that together, you get negative 26. So that's that one. Now watch this one. Negative minus negative 4. Well, anytime you have minus negative, that's going to end up to be a positive. So that's going to be negative 4 plus 4. Of course, that equals 0. Okay? Now, when you multiply or divide, anytime you multiply 2 negative numbers, you end up with a positive number. So negative 7 times negative 5 is 35. Now, let's work this one out. And remember, PEMDAS, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So parentheses, exponent, multiplication, division, add, subtract from left to right. Okay? So if multiplication and division is first from left to right, we need to start with 72 divided by negative 4. That's going to give us a negative 18. So that's going to be negative 18 times negative 3. And again, 2 negatives equals a positive. So that's going to give us a positive 54. Okay? So you'll have 2 like that. Now the next type is find the numerical value of each expression below. All right, so this is 3 to the 5th, the exponent 5. Well, all this means is it's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Okay, and when you multiply that out, that's going to equal 243. Now what about negative 3? Well, that's going to equal negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. Now we said 2 negatives make a positive, so what about 3 negatives? Well, 2 negatives is a positive, and then a positive times a negative, you're going to get a negative. So that's going to be negative 27. And then to take the square root, you put in 1369, take the square root of that, and you get 37. And yes, you can use your calculator on the test. And that's how you work those problems, okay? Pretty easy, but at least practice them before you start the test, okay? I'll leave the test up for a couple of days. All right, now these we're just going to simplify. Now, anytime that we have the same like numbers or letters, then we can add them, subtract them, multiply, or divide, okay? So 4x plus x is just x plus x, okay? So 4 plus 6 is 10, and that'll be 10x, okay? But now x times x, that's going to give you, when you have x times x, that's going to give you x squared. So 3x times 7x is going to be 21x squared, okay? 21x squared. Now what about this one? This one we got to multiply throughout the parentheses, okay? So 3 times 4 is 12x. Whoops. Yeah, 12x. And then 3 times minus 7 is going to be a negative 21. Okay? That's how you work those. Now what about this next one? 4x plus 3 plus 5x plus 5. Well, what I try to do is put them all together. So I would put 4x plus, whoops, it's supposed to be x. I'll fix that. So that's going to be 4x. I did it again. I'm thinking about the 5 before I write the x. 4x plus 5x plus 3 plus 8. So put all your like terms together. So 4x plus 5x is going to be 9x, and 3 plus 8 is going to be plus 11. So that's going to be that. Okay? Now, for this one, we need to multiply throughout this parentheses and multiply throughout this parentheses and then combine the like terms. So when we do that, it's going to be 3x plus 3y plus 6x minus 6y. And if we want to combine these, it'll be 3x plus 6y plus 6x plus 3y minus 6y. We do that, we're going to get 9x minus, because 3 minus 6 is going to be 3y. Okay? And that's how you do that. So just combine your like terms and then do your add, subtract, multiply, or divide. All right, now here's a really good one. So this one we're going to be simplifying by combining the like terms. Now notice we have ax minus 5ax. Okay? Well, anytime you have an ax with nothing in front of it, you can pretend that's a 1, okay? So it's going to be 1 minus 5. So that's going to give us minus 4ax. Okay? Now what about this one? 2xy plus 3x plus 4xy. So if we put these together, 2xy plus 4xy plus 3x. So that's going to be 2 plus 4, 6xy plus 3x. Okay, that's how we do that. Now, if we have x squared plus x squared y plus 4x squared plus 3x, what can we combine? Well, we have an x squared here and an x squared here, so we can combine those two. This one, we don't have one that's the same, so we can't combine it, and we can't combine this one. So that's going to be x squared plus 4x squared is going to be 5x squared plus x squared y. We don't have another term like that, and we don't have another term like 3x. So we have, that's all we can reduce it to. Okay. Now this one has 8m plus 4m squared plus 2m. So we need to drop the parentheses. So that's going to be 8m plus 4m squared plus 2m. Now notice if this had a negative in front of it, we would have to distribute that negative, okay? But it don't, so we're good. So 8m plus 2m is going to be 10m plus 4m squared. Okay? Now that's what I was talking about here. See, we have this negative, so we got to distribute it. So negative, that's going to be negative x. A negative times a negative is a positive, 2y plus 2x plus 6y. Okay? So now we combine them. We have negative x plus 2x is going to give us x, and 2y plus 6y is going to give us plus 8y. Okay, so make sure that you distribute that negative and that you combine your like terms and reduce it. Okay, that's all you're doing. Just take your time. On these next problems, you got to simplify by multiplying. Now remember, when you're multiplying exponents, this is the same thing as saying 2 plus 3 on the exponents, okay? When you divide them, you're saying 4 minus 6. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. All right, so let's do this first one first. A times a squared times a to the third. That's just going to equal a, and then you add them, so it's a to the fifth. Now, let's distribute this one. We got to distribute negative 6x cubed. So negative 6x cubed times 4x squared is going to be negative 6 times 4 is 24. And then x cubed plus x squared, that's going to be x to the fifth. Okay, then you got negative times a negative 6. That's going to give you a positive 36. And then you have x cubed times x. That's a 1 there. So that's going to be 3 plus 1 is 4. That's going to be x to the 4th. And then just y, because there's no y to multiply. Minus 6 plus 8, or minus 6 times positive 8 is going to be a negative 48. Then we got x cubed times y squared. So that's just going to be x cubed times y squared, because those two don't match. And that's all you do. So distribute it. Make sure that you add the exponents and then combine any like terms you have. All right, on this last one, it's 5x cubed times x to the 4th. Well, 5x times x is just 5x, because 5 times 1 is 5. And then x cubed times x to the 4th, you add those exponents, it's going to be x to the 7th. And that's all you do. Now these you're going to divide. So if we divide, 10 will go into 10. And you can do this a couple of different ways. This would be 1 over 10 to the 2. Or this could also just be 10 to the negative 2. So if you bring this up, then that negative is going to change, okay? So either one of those is right. Now number 35 is 16y squared divided by negative 24y. So first just divide to reduce this one, okay? So 8 will go into both of these. 8 will go into 16 2 times, and 8 will go into 24 3 times. And there's a negative there, so you got to keep that. And then y cubed divided by y to the second, that's just going to be y. So it's like 3 minus 2, okay? This right here should have actually been 6 minus 4, not 4 minus 6. Six minus 4. That's where we get the 2. And then if you bring it to the top, it's negative 2. There should be a y there. Okay? Because this is going to be 3 minus 2. So you don't have to put the 1 there. All right, and then the last one is 9y cubed plus 6y squared divided by 3y. So 3y divided by 9y cubed, that's 3 divided by 9 is going to be 3. And then y, 3 minus 1 is going to be 2. So 3y squared. 3 over 1 is 6 2 times. And 2 minus 1 is 1, so you just write 2y. Okay? And that's how you work those. So please practice those. You'll have 3 of the multiply and 3 of the divide. Now the next section, we're just finding each value and round to 2 decimal places if necessary. So you're just going to substitute x equals 3, y equals 5, and z equals 6. So m is going to equal 3 times 3 minus 5 times 5 plus 4 times 6. And then you just multiply it out. So 3 times 3 is 9, minus 5 times 5 is 25, plus 4 times 6 is 24. When you multiply all that out, m is going to equal 8. Or not multiply, but do your addition, okay? Number 38, you're just going to, same thing, you're just going to substitute a and b. So n equals 7 plus 12 times 7 minus 12. So when you go through and you do 7 plus 12 is 19 times negative 5. Oh, what happened? That's going to equal negative 95. So just substitute and then work your math. Okay? Not bad at all, but again, you need to practice these problems. Don't just listen to this and take the test. At least practice them, okay? And make sure you understand them. All right, this one you solve the following equations. So to do that, we're trying to solve for x on these, okay? So if we're solving for x, then we need to combine our like terms and then get x by itself. So to do that, we're going to subtract 7 from both sides. And that's going to be 2x equals 6. Divide 2 by both sides. That cancels that x. And so x is going to equal 3. Okay. So just subtract whatever you do to one side, you have to do the other, and you do the opposite. So if it's plus 7, you're going to subtract 7. Okay. Now for this one, first of all, we've got to distribute this 2. Okay. So let's do that first. So that's going to be 2x plus 2 minus x equals 8. Okay. Then we're going to combine like terms. So 2x minus x is just going to give us x plus 2 equals 8. Now again, we've got to solve for x. So we got to get x by itself. So we're going to subtract 2 by both sides because we were in addition. That's going to cancel. And x is going to equal 6. Okay. So do any distributing that you need to do, combine like terms, and then get x by itself to solve, okay? So you're solving for x in these problems. Okay. Now the last thing we're going to do is we're going to solve the following formulas. Okay, so it wants us to solve for p in this one. So if r equals s plus p, and we're going to solve for p, we got to get s by itself. Or I'm sorry, we got to get p by itself. So first of all, we need to subtract s by both sides because this is addition. So that's going to be r minus s, because that's going to cancel, equals p. Okay. Now this one we're going to solve for L. So we need to get L by itself. So what we're going to do here is we're going to subtract 2w from both sides. That's going to cancel. So that's going to be p minus 2w equals 2l. Now look, we still need to get l by itself, and we have this 2 in the way, and this is multiplication. So if we're going to do the opposite on both sides, we're going to divide both sides by 2. So L equals P minus 2W divided by 2. And that's that one. And that's how you work these problems. Okay? So please practice on and please study what I just went over. Make sure you understand it and let me know if you have any questions. Good luck, and I hope everybody makes an A. I'm going to put the test on first thing in the morning, and you will have through the weekend to take it. So let me know if you have any questions. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.